Welcome to another video for WinBidPro version 16. In this one I'd like to go over some changes we've made to the labor in the program and the labor feature. And to start with, let's look at the job menu and then go down to labor rules and settings. So that's going to open up a tab where you have a list of elevations which matches our Explorer list. But it also doesn't show us any labor right now, so that means that there's no labor assigned to any of the elevations. If there were, then we'd see a bunch of labor items in this right window over here. And so there's a few different ways to assign labor to elevations. I can go select a labor rule set, and keep in mind, if I'm on a specific elevation, the labor I select is only going to be assigned to whichever one I've highlighted. So let's go ahead and do that. Now I've been messing around and I've assigned labor to this job and then deleted it and all that, so it remembers when labor has been assigned to a job, and you can pick one of those items again. So let's say I want to pick shear block for the first elevation. It actually shows me the name of the rule set. I can kind of drag that over, and then it shows me the items that have been configured for that. Now if I hit add line item or modify any of these values, then I can even go down here and type in a new item. So if I do any of that, I can basically be modifying the labor for this elevation. So if other elevations are using that same rule set, then it'll ask me if I want to update all of them or just this elevation. So it still gives you the flexibility of changing certain elevation labor and leaving others alone. And then it also gives you the ability to select, say, multiple elevations over in the list over here, and right click and say change elevation labor rules. And I can either pick one of those existing labor rule sets that have been assigned to the job before, or I can go back to the global rule set. So if I've made changes to any of those that I've already assigned to the job, it's going to pick up those changes for these selected elevations if I select one of those. Or if I don't want those changes, then I go back to the global, pick one from the global list, and then I'm starting fresh for these selected elevations. So there's a lot of flexibility there. I can also go in and go back to labor here. I can also go in and right click and delete labor for a specific elevation, and then do that for multiple elevations. Like if I do the thing where I shift click or control click, I can hit delete right click and delete labor for those. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of add and adjust labor for the job just by right clicking or looking at that list that we looked at before. So another way I can get to labor that's a little different is if I click this labor tab at the bottom of the drawing window, it's going to show me the labor right away just for the current elevation. So it also gives me a note down here that says this view is going to change and that the labor tab is no longer going to be here. So we're giving you a chance to kind of get used to this, and then from then on it'll be a Control L to get to labor, or go to this job window and get to labor that way, which we already did. So here I can go to an elevation. If it shows me the items in this window, you know that it has labor assigned. If I go to a different elevation and there's nothing, you know there's no labor assigned. So another kind of way to see what's going on with your job labor. Now if I want to hit edit rule sets, so this is where I've got a list of those different rule sets that have already been assigned to this job. I can actually go into these and I can edit and add items to this labor kind of list for each rule set. So again, this is only affecting this job. It's not the global rule sets. It's only this job. If you want to go to the global rule sets and modify those, then you just go up to settings and then labor settings. So yeah, it's very flexible, very kind of powerful way of manipulating labor and editing and, you know, changing labor for your job and for different elevations. So hopefully it's beneficial and gives you ways to really fine-tune and dial in your labor in the V16 program. That's it for now. Thanks.